Welcome everyone to the Kamen Rider Bar. My name is Sakai Ichigo and I am your bartender for the evening. We have a wide variety of drinks to choose from, so take your pick, take a seat at the bar counter or at a table, and let's get started. Hold on, let me just turn on the bar music. There we go. So, on today, while you guys are sitting down and enjoying your drinks, we will also be discussing about Kamen Rider Saber episode 13, which just aired on Sunday. Personally, for me, I love Kamen Rider Saber. The story started out really slow, but they have built up momentum and speed to the point where it's only 13 episodes in, and the plot has already gotten to the point where we have character deaths, reminiscing of Kamen Rider X8's legendary Christmas episode. I have a feeling that Toei is trying to do something similar in this one. So the episode starts off where we last left off in episode 12, with Kento having been struck by Caliber and is slowly being corrupted by the Sword of Darkness. The rest of the Sword of Logos brought him back to the base of operations, and at the same time, Toma has regained his memories. And so there's a point in the episode where Toma is remembering about stuff about himself and Kento and their lost friend Luna when they were children. Rintaro and Mei standing by him, and Rintaro reminding Toma about some stuff that Kento was talking about in the past as well regarding Toma, and that Kento had thought that Toma was dead. After which, the scene cuts to the rest of the Sword of Logos as Toma enters the room. The rest of them questions him about Kento's condition, and the other members of the Sword of Logos begin to discuss and talk about how they can help Kento. It is at this point that Kamen Rider Buster, aka Ryo Ogami, points out that the only way that they will be able to find out truly what happened with Kento, or how to heal him, or in a way cure his condition, is to get their hands on the Sword of Darkness itself, which is in the possession of Kamen Rider Caliber. Of course, Caliber is not going to go along nicely, and this is when Toma comes to the understanding that while 6th Ring of Light may need Espada, it could also be completed by Caliber's sword, the Sword of Darkness, as there is only one more Ring of Light needed for the midgets, and Caliber himself. There's only one more Ring of Light needed, and there's two more sacred swords. Kento, aka Kamen Rider Espada's Ikazuchi, the Sword of Lightning, or Caliber's Sword of Darkness. So there's these two swords left. As such, Caliber doesn't really need Ikazuchi's Sword of Lightning. He could just do it himself. And realizing that, they realize that that is most likely the course of action that he is going to take, and that they could kill two birds with one stone by finding Caliber, defeating him, which stops not only his plans to summon the last Ring of Light, but also get his sword to find a way to cure Kento. As such, Toma and Rintaro, aka Kamen Rider Saber and Kamen Rider Blade, recklessly runs out of the base of operations to try and find Caliber himself, followed closely behind by Buster and Kenzan. Tetsuro, aka Kamen Rider Slash, stays behind along with Mei Sudo for two different reasons. Tetsuro is trying to figure out more about the two mysterious Wonder Ride books that they have in their possessions, and Mei remains behind to take care of Kento. Obviously, as later on in the episode shows, she isn't doing a very good job of keeping track of where he is. At this point, Caliber has found the Goblin Midget, the last thing that he needed, a midget for him to destroy, to activate the power of his Sword of Darkness, his sacred sword, which would then activate the last Ring of Light that he needed to create the door to eternal truth. Caliber finds the Goblin Midget and is about to take him down. Luckily, Toma and Rintaro arrives just in the nick of time and begins questioning him about his motives regarding why he wants to find the door of eternal truth and why he betrayed the Sword of Logos. After giving some fruitless discussions regarding the reasoning, Caliber, Blade, and Saber begins their fight. And as the fight begins, something happens back at the base. Kento awakens from his slumber, and upon seeing the Wonder Story Ride book that is on the bed next to him, Kento realizes that Toma was there with him during his sleep. And then he remembers something regarding their childhood friend, Luna. Luna, who was holding on to the Wonder Story Ride book, Kento remembers a promise that he made to Luna, which was to protect Toma. So regardless of his injuries, Kento decides to go ahead and try and find Toma and the others to help him. Meanwhile, the fight between Caliber, Saber, and Blade was starting to get bad for the two of them, Saber and Blade. As Caliber was about to finish them off, Kenzan and Buster arrives in the nick of time to begin their fight with him. As the four Kamen Riders begin to challenge Caliber's power, they start off by using their finishers against him all at once. Unfortunately, Caliber's finisher was a lot more stronger and overpowers them. It is then that they question him regarding a way to cure Kento, with Caliber telling them that one person corrupted by the Sword of Darkness cannot be saved any longer, and that they are too late. Unable to accept the answer, the four riders continue their fight and renew their offensive against Caliber. However, during this part of the fight, Rintaro's body began to show signs of fatigue, as he was still injured severely from the last battle. Caliber notices this, and the Goblin Midget does as well. And as the Goblin Midget steps in front to kill Rintaro, or attack him, I guess you could say, Caliber begins charging up his finisher, intending to attack both the Goblin Midget and Rintaro, aka Kamen Rider Blaze, at the same time. Fortunately and unfortunately, in the nick of time, Hinto, aka Kamen Rider Espada, arrives to save his friend. Now, I think, as I mentioned before, this is not an ideal situation. After all, although he has the best of intentions, the fact remains that, I guess they probably weren't thinking about it at that time, Kento's sword is one of the two remaining swords needed to finish the Ring of Light and summon the door to eternal truth. And with both Caliber and Espada fighting the Goblin Midget, that is inevitable. That is obviously going to happen regardless of whoever kills it. It's either Espada kills the Goblin Midget or Caliber does. And as would be seen in the next shot, both of them uses their attacks against the Goblin Midget. Unfortunately for Espada, Caliber's finisher was a lot more stronger and kills both the Goblin Midget, and he transforms Espada. Kento is now a lot more worse for wear than he was in the previous episode. He has been struck twice now by the Sword of Darkness. This is going to be very important in the last part of the episode. But now, we have a bigger problem. Caliber's sword begins to glow as the final Ring of Light can now be created, and the door to eternal truth summoned in the center of the city. Bad news. The bad guys are about to win. So what happens next? The riders renew their offensive. There is no other way. Mei arrives to ensure that Kento doesn't rejoin the fight, as the four riders renew their offensive and begin anew in fighting against Caliber in a looking to be almost hopeless battle. Caliber once again overpowering each and every single one of them. even de-transforming Buster, Kenzai, and Blade, leaving Saber as the only remaining transformed Kamen Rider of the group against Caliber. At this point, with one last attempt, Saber tries in a fruitless attempt to strike at Caliber. Caliber redirects his attack and de-transforms Saber. Toma, now on the ground, gets taunted by Caliber, stating that Toma has always never had the strength to protect the ones he loved. As he remembers what happened when he was younger, now having his memories back about how he failed to save his friend Luna, Kento renews his belief that Toma would be able to defeat Caliber, and if anyone was able to protect them, it was him. Toma reaffirms his resolve, and a miracle is about to happen. One of the two mysterious Wonder Ride books back at the base begins to glow and makes its way to Toma, and as it reaches him, the voice of their lost friend Luna emerges from within the Wonder Ride book. And I would like to reiterate that this is not a hallucination. Obviously, this world has some form of magic or otherworldly powers whatsoever, what say you? Both Toma and Kento were able to hear Luna's voice coming from the Wonder Ride book. As such, with this, Toma grabs the Wonder Ride book, revealing itself to be the Dragonic Knight Wonder Ride book, his new form. And as Toma activates it, he transforms into Kamen Rider Saber, Dragonic Knight, his new super form. And I have to say, it actually looks really cool. There's a fun fact regarding this form that I would like to share at the end of the episode, but let's continue first. With this new form, Saber now renews his offensive against Caliber. Caliber, believing that he is still stronger, strikes at Saber relentlessly. However, as he would find out, his new form is a lot stronger than he realizes. Caliber couldn't make a dent in Saber's new form, and Saber begins to strike back, with him regarding that, or telling Caliber that the reason why he's unable to beat this new form is literally because Saber himself has this form, or created it, with the bonds of friendship that he and his friends share. Real touching. And Caliber is standing alone, and although he made his way all the way by himself, he has no one to stand by his side, and that he is totally, utterly alone in his fight, while Toma is not. Did I say his name wrongly before? I hope I did. And as Toma begins to push Caliber back, Caliber takes flight to the skies, in a final attempt to reach for the door of eternal truth before Toma or the others could stop him. And if Toma, aka Kamen Rider Saber, with his new form, rides on his dragon to take flight as well, and a fight in the sky ensues. However, as the fight progresses, the mysterious man from Avalon finally shows himself again, remarking that Toma has finally finished all his trials. Now, it is a good point to note that we know absolutely almost nothing about this guy. Literally almost nothing. We don't have any information about his motives. If you think or you have some speculation regarding what he is and what he's supposed to be, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll obviously read them because I really want to know what's this guy's deal. As the fight progresses in the skies, both Toma and Caliber, aka Daichi Kamijo, his predecessor as Kamen Rider Saber, clash one last time to determine the fate of both, whether or not Caliber reaches the door of eternal truth, and whether or not Toma is able to save Kento's life. And in one final clash, Toma finally destroys Caliber. Unironically, somehow, or whether or not this show intentionally decides to do this or not, or maybe he's not really gone, Caliber's body is destroyed. No sign of it, and the Sword of Darkness begins plummeting back down to the earth. At this point, I would like to point out that We have no idea what happens then. We never found the body. The body was just destroyed in mid-air. I don't know if maybe the Sword of Darkness absorbs his soul or something or rather like that, but we'll continue on discussing it first. As Kento de-transforms and tries to find the Sword of Darkness, which is the last key he needs to save Kento's life, the others, and Slash himself, Tetsuo, finally arrives on the battlefield and remarks to Toma that Kento would not be able to last much longer. As Toma rushes back to see his dying friend, Kento starts reminiscing with the whole group, telling them how much he cares about them and how much they have sustained him, and in his dying breath tells them how much they matter to him. Toma promises his friend, and so does the rest of them, that they will continue to fight to honor his memory. Finally, the corrupting power and force of the Sword of Darkness takes over Kento's body, and he is no longer able to hold on. As Kento starts to dissolve, his eyes glow red. Ominous, I must say. And his body finally fades out of existence. We're only on episode 13, guys, and the show already has one of the main riders' deaths. I shit you not, I am shocked that the show is moving at such pace that we already have such a thing. And as a last shot of the episode shows, in the forest, the Sword of Darkness stands there, or lies in the ground, waiting for someone to pick it up. However, as the shot closes up on the sword, something could be heard from within it. The sword begins to growl, and Kento's screams can be heard in the background. What you interpret of this, we will talk about right now, and that is the final scene of episode 13 as we recap the episode. So everyone, let's begin to discuss about this entire episode at large. Now, episode 13 has been really intensively heavy on plot points, stuff about the episode, and everything else. We've had 2 character deaths. Daichi Kamijo, the previous Kamen Rider Saber, is now dead, or disappeared, or faded out of existence. We may never know, unless the show decides to show us. However, the most important thing is that Kento seems to be being set up to become the new Kamen Rider Caliber. And it will be incredibly poetic that Kento becomes the new Kamen Rider Caliber, his father, Kento's father, Hayato, was the first Caliber itself. And I guess you could say that, in a way, this is something that the show is going to build up to. We may never know what exactly may go on in the coming episodes, but I assure you, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. So episode 13, Kamen Rider Saber. What are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments if you would like to share your thoughts on the episode. But for me, I have to say, I would also like to ask regarding what about 6 rings of light? I mean, we've seen that the rings have all been activated. The door to eternal truth has been opened, or is now floating in the sky above the city. This is going to be a plot point for the next episode, I hope. Or somehow or other, the others, or the Sword of Logos, are going to try and find a way to ensure that the midgets do not get their hands on it. And if you've seen the preview for episode 14, we also have something else to look forward to. Rintaro, Kamen Rider Blade, will also be getting his super form. And that is something I'm really excited about and I can't wait. So hopefully you guys stay tuned as well. Now, on to the fun fact. I remember earlier on I mentioned something that I wanted to say regarding Saber's new form, Dragonic Knight. And this is what I want to mention. A fun fact regarding Dragonic Knight is that there are speculations and theories regarding Dragonic Knight that it is actually a nod or to pay homage to Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, a American adaptation of the Kamen Rider show Kamen Rider Ryuki that happened in 2009. The American adaptation happened in 2009, and from what I've seen or online regarding Kamen Rider Dragon Knight is that a lot of the fans like that one as well, Japanese fans. And so perhaps, or I'm just speculating, this new form of Saber's Dragonic Knight is a nod or a reference to Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, and the references and the homage and the similarities or the sort of like similarities do not end there. Sorry, I lost my words there. Similarities do not end there. If we go back and take a look, you will actually see from his arm, Dragonic Knight actually has this thing on his arm that is a dragon's head. Now, if you guys remember Kamen Rider Ryuki, Ryuki also had something similar, which means so does Dragon Knight, the American counterpart of Kamen Rider Ryuki. And so, and it also shoots jets of flame, just the same, as well as the fact that he can ride a dragon. And if you actually watch Kamen Rider Ryuki, you realize that Ryuki's survive form also has him riding a dragon. And I'm just saying, maybe or maybe not. Maybe it might be a reference. Maybe it might be just them putting or reusing ideas. We may never know, unless Toei decides to tell us as it is. And so with that, I'm going to end off the episode. Thank you everyone for coming by. Thank you everyone for stopping by at the bar. Bar will be closing up soon. Please return your drink glasses sorry. Please put your drink glasses on the bar counter and exit through the I lost my words there. Thank you everyone. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next episode of Kamen Rider Bar. Thank you. Goodbye.